Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about Saryn, about why people hate her. Now, this was actually really hard to get any info on because it seems most people hate her for what she once was, being a nuker capable of destroying pretty much everything in the game. Meanwhile, nowadays, while she can still do that, she requires more external uses, meaning her herself is not the one usually doing the nuking. She requires the Kuva Sobek to be able to do all that damage, along with the Acid Shells Augment mod. And while it certainly does make use of Saryn's abilities, you can't solely say it is Saryn. Anybody's weapons at this point in the game can nuke pretty much anything. Weapons are just that powerful in the game where you can pretty much pick up any weapon you want and do insane damage to enemies, so long as you build it in a hyper-specific way. But Saryn herself, the reason people hate her, aside from being a nuker, I suppose, common hate for any nuker frame really, is that her gameplay loop just isn't for everyone. Now, some players find her boring to play, which is pretty natural actually, because her kit doesn't require much optimization or skill to use, and her general gameplay usually just boils down to casting your one to spread a spore to an enemy, and then either killing that enemy or melee attacking them to spread it to all other enemies within the range, and then either maintaining Toxic Lash for extra melee damage or weapon damage, whatever one you're really going for, and Venom Dose should you be using it, and then finally just casting for Miasma whenever you feel it's appropriate to increase the damage enemies take from spores, which will start melting their health bars just a lot more. Her gameplay loop is extraordinarily simple. So if you like highly active frames, those people that like highly active frames will likely hate her. Or maybe not hate her, but just dislike her because there's nothing active about it. The most active thing about her is upkeeping survivability, because base Saryn has nothing. You could say she has Molt, which will draw enemy fire and give you a speed boost, which will allow you to get away from enemies quicker. And if you have unregenerative Molt, you get some healing out of that, but that in and of itself isn't the best form of survivability. If you get to a higher level, they're going to be shredding your health no matter what, so that regenerative Molt isn't going to be doing you much good. In the end, most players would rely on shield gating or something like that. Next is that she has a bit of a reputation problem. You could argue any Warframe has its own problem with reputation, but the stereotype essentially goes for Saryn that whether they're newer or older players, they pretty much just associate her with Sanctuary Onslaught farming, affinity grinding, speed leveling your gear, and then just for some reason chasing kill percentages. I heard that quite a bit when I was asking around in region chat. Personally, I hadn't heard that one until just yesterday when I was asking about, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. But regardless, because she's a popular frame, she has definitely inherited some of the community's frustration towards meta playstyles. Next is her design pretty much just clashes with cooperative expectations. Now, if you do run the Kuva Sobek build, which a lot of Saryns likely do, I mean, why wouldn't they? It's the best way to nuke and get rid of all these enemies. If you're not doing it, it often doesn't make much sense. But her base kit itself doesn't really fit well with a co-op gameplay. She doesn't really help the team much aside from indirect help via killing enemies before they actually become a threat. The only form of team help she actually gives is if you use the Venom Dose Augment mod, which can apply corrosive damage for your teammates within 15-meter radius of you. Now, for this reason, I actually found this one a bit odd because while Warframe is technically advertised as a co-op game, it's hard to say it is with the way everything works out. It's more along the lines of just a bunch of missions you go through together with a team. You don't really have to put too much emphasis on the co-op part, because pretty much any part of this game you can do by yourself. I don't think there's much, if anything at all, that you need teammates to go do with you. Raids, as I'm sure anybody is well aware, has long since been removed from Warframe. So the co-op aspect of this game has been gone since, I think, about 10 years. But it was a point I did find interesting, because a lot of frames that come out nowadays also don't have much in terms of team support. And now, honestly, that's pretty much just about it. Most of the reasons I heard via region chat were about her being overpowered, but I have to be honest, those are very hyper-specific builds. that most players won't even end up either making or running into unless they focus heavily on running steel path missions, which not every player actually does. While it is a natural form of progression for veteran players, newer players join this game every day, and they don't end up running into those hyper specific builds unless they ask for help in recruiting tab or finally end up getting into steel path, in which case they'll be met with those min maxers that focus on every aspect of their build to deal hyper insane amounts of damage. That's not to say it's not a problem, but it's not as big of a one as a lot of people like to make it out to be, at least in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. But with that being said, that's just about it. I haven't found much else in terms of Saryn hate, and I believe it's probably because DE has nerfed her and reworked her to the point where she's not as unbalanced as she used to be. And compared to other frames that are coming out nowadays, or just other builds for other frames, she is relatively tame in comparison. And with that being said, that's just about it. Tell me, what do you think about Saryn? Do you love her? Do you hate her? Is there reasons that I don't know about for why people hate her? And so with that being said, until next time.